Hey guys, it's Trumbull. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be continuing my series review of the Berserk manga series, um, dealing with the Golden Age arc. This is, if I remember correctly, this is part 3 of my review of the Golden Age arc of Berserk. So far, just a little recap. So far in the Golden Age arc, we see Guts gets discovered. We see when Gambino and his mercenary. We see his mother died. We see the abuse he suffers during after his mother died under the tutelage and guidance of Gambino. We see him get framed for killing his father when he didn't kill his father. Well, he did kill his father, well, his father figure, but he didn't kill him out of spite. He killed him out of self-defense because his father was trying to kill him. His father blamed him for every bad thing that ever happened to him, despite the fact that Guts had nothing to do with it. And and then from there on, we see him go off into the world. He's just like a nihilist. He has no reason to live. He's risking his life. We see it in his fight with Bezozo. I think it's Bezozo, where it's just a nihilist. And then he meets Griffith and the Band of the Hawk. Griffith convince him to join the Band of the Hawk, and then from there it's been 3 years. We see him meet Zod. We see him learn about the Baeleth from Zod. Zod tells him that if you consider yourself a friend of this man, you're going to die a death you cannot escape. And it's been lingering in Guts's mind, as you're gonna see later on in the review. Um, but yeah, this that's what's been going on so far. And so now we're gonna get into the Golden Age arc, Assassins. This part is called. Anyway, so we open up from where we left off last time after Guts and Griffith had just finished their fight with with Zod. And then we see Guts there on a balcony. Guts is training. Griffith comes in. Griffith is finally back up. Griffith is actually amused. Like, he's actually surprised. Like, you're wielding a sword. Like, even though you got more even worse worse injuries than me, you're already wielding a sword. You're pretty tough, right? And they continue to talk. They get into the conversation eventually leads into, um, why did you do that? Why did you save me? Guts asks Griffith, why did you risk your life for me? Griffith is like, I don't really need a reason to do it. Do I need a reason for every time I risk my life to save your life? This Guts is he's kind of taken back for it, kind of taken aback by it, because he's, I suppose this has to do with his childhood and all of that. But as they're talking, the king of Midland is on a stroll, and he comes, and he's like, and he eventually gets into a conversation with them. He's like, hey, how you doing? And his brother Julius is there, and Julius is an aristocrat. He believes that he's superior and all of that. He's not down with this whole Griffith being a commoner, these commoners becoming knighted, and he's not down with that. He's like just being a pompous asshole, and he like demands that they kneel because Griffith immediately kneels after seeing the king. Guts is you're gonna start to notice. You're gonna notice this where this whole aristocratic politic is just not Guts. This is not Guts at all. This life of kingship and lords and stuff, it's not. It's really not Guts, because Guts views Griffith as a friend. Like he's like, we're friends. Like that's his thought process of the relationship. And that's gonna come back to bite him so badly. Anyway, but I digest. Let us continue. So the king goes on to talk. The king is talking to Griffith really casually, and again, Julius is furious. Is you're talking to a commander, just a lowly commander, so casually, and the king just brushes it off and says, it's draftees like Griffith and them that's going to end the war. Men who care about status and birthrights and stuff, but they're not going to win the war. It's the random draftees like Griffith and Guts is that's going to help them win the war, because status and power and all that is not going to do anything. And as they're talking, we see a little girl peeps her head from behind the pillar, and this catches Griffith's eye. Griffith asks the king, "Hey, who's that lady over there?" The king explains that that's his daughter, Charlotte. She's a bit shy. She doesn't like soldiers and stuff like that. And the king goes on. He even goes on to say that he shelters her, right? He's sheltered her whole life, which explains a lot, her demeanor and the way she acts and stuff like that. Um, but then the king walks off. He's like, "Go back to your business. We're gonna leave." And he's like, "Come, Charlotte." But as Charlotte is coming down, Charlotte trips, and Griffith catches her. Now Julius is like, "You dare touch the princess!" and slaps Griffith. Well, no, not slap him. Backshands in the face. And Gus is like, "Hey, pal," but Griffith said, "Calm down, calm down." And he's like, and then and then this again. Griffith gives this fucking evil smile. Let's just smile, saying, "Oh, I see. I see. Challenge accepted." It's like, it's okay. And like this, the smile is just terrifying. And this isn't even the last one. There's more of this freaking smile to come. Like, anyway, anyway. So after that, we cut away from the scene. We see Julius walking. Presumably, we don't know where he's walking. We don't know if he's still in his manor. He's in the castle. We have no idea. But he's walking. As he's walking, he sees these maid talking. They're talking about Griffith and how Griffith's amazing. He's so elegant. He's all of this, and this just it just infuriates him. Like and they even go into like Griffith is so much better than all these pompous aristocrats, and Julie's blood it just starts to boil. It's furious, and he yells at them and says, "Hey, get back to work, you maid servant girls!" And they run off. And as they run off, Minister Minister Foss comes up to talk to Julius. He's like, Lord Julius, did you hear that the Band of the Hawk is going to be protecting the king at the upcoming, I think it's autumn hunt, right? I think it was the upcoming autumn hunt. Julius is like, no, no, like it's originally the dragon. I think it's the White Dragon Knights that's supposed to protect the king at the hunt. The king. It's the hunt is supposed to be the king bonding with his lords, and it's honorable that we do it. And then Vassos is obviously manipulating Julius because he realized that Julius is just so caught up in rank and status and power. And Vassos goes in like, Griffith is like a rising commander with the current. There is no sign of the current war ending, and if he continues to distinguish himself, maybe he might even reach the status of general. And Julius loses, like Julius is just breaking, like he just like me. He's gonna be like me. He's gonna be able to talk to me equally. I've never heard of a common born citizen becoming a general. That's nonsense, right? Julius isn't having any of it. And then Fossil says, "Well, it's a hunt. We never really know what's gonna happen. Maybe a stray arrow doused in poison." Julius is like, "What? Are you crazy? A straight arrow, Julius, a straight arrow." And then Julius is like, "Oh, he has an epiphany." He's like, "Yes, yes, a straight arrow." Like he's a straight arrow, right? So then we move to the next day. We see him at the hunt. We see the king, we see the lords. They're hunting, they're chasing after the animals and stuff like that. They're chasing after the animal. With the animals, they almost escape into the forest. Guts comes out. He scares him. Scares the animal back off into the so they the lords and um, so the animal doesn't run off, and then the lords get pissy about it. Anyway, but Guts doesn't like this. Guts doesn't like, yo, I don't want to be here. Like we're warriors, because this is what Guts is. He's a warrior. He's a fighter. Like, this is not him, and this is what I'm saying. Where this environment that they're in is just not for Guts. Like he's not for Guts. The subtlety, the all of this. Like he's like a warrior. We're in the battlefield. We fight. We win wars. That's what we do. And Crocus just gets so fucking upset about this because he's like, God damn it! You know how honorable this is an honored position. Like we're here, and the only thing you can think about is swinging your sword, and and this is just and this pisses Crocus off, and Rickett, I forgot his name last time. His name is Rickett. And he's like, Crocus, calm down. And Crocus rides off because Crocus is getting pissy with Guts because he loves this. He wants the high life. He wants the status. He wants the power. That's what he's in it for. Um, but But then we see Princess Charlotte. Charlotte not is not in. She doesn't like hunting. She doesn't like any of this. She is just a super fucking sheltered girl. She's a rich girl to the bone. Anyway, we see her, and then Griffith walks up to her. He's like, "Don't you like to hunt?" And we see that what's his name, Julius, is there, and he has an assassin, and he's like, they're looking at each other, and this is just Miura, um, showing us, giving us, oh, there's assassin, there's Julius, he's planning something. Julius eventually tells the assassin to wait, the opportunity will come. But during all of this, Griffith continues to talk with the princess. He shows her like a trick with blowing the flower, making it the leaf, making it sound. And as he's doing that, a boar or a pig, I think it's a boar, comes running out, and it scares Charlotte's horse, causing the horse to run off. And then um, Julius signals to the assassin, to the bowman, that yeah, this is your moment, go. And Griffith goes after Charlotte, and eventually Griffith manages to calm the horse. And Charlotte is so excited by this. This is probably the most exciting thing she's ever done in never done her entire life. And Griffith is like, you finally come out of your shell. That's good, because Griffith is basically seducing Charlotte. Charlotte likes Griffith at this point. She's not in love with him yet. She likes him. Um, but right as they're talking and right as all this is happening, the bowman makes a shot and it hits Griffith square in the chest, and Griffith falls. And then we see Guts. Guts comes riding in. Griffith. So, this is just like now he's saying it like Guts is this in he says this to Griffith now. He says it in like a concerning way, my friend Griffith. And if you go back and read the Black Swordsman arc when Femto or Griffith first appear, is Griffith in a rage, in bloodlusted rage. But anyway, Guts comes down. He's grabbing the princess. Is like, where did the arrow come from? And Guts is like, again, it's like Guts is just like he's not. You read it and you're like, oh gosh, he's so brutish. He's such a brute. But we love him for it. But anyway, the princess is like, I don't know where it comes from. I didn't know where it comes from. And Casca is freaking out. Casca is there. Are you okay, Griffith? Are you okay? And Guts is like looking around. He draws his sword and he's looking into the bushes or into the trees to see if he can see it. And the assassin is like, then we get the assassin saying, I think it's like it's bean poison, and it's like one of the deadliest poison ever. Just a scratch will kill Griffith. Griffith is this, and then Casca is then still freaking out, and Griffith just puts his hand on her face and says, "Don't worry, I'm fine." And it's like, "But you've been," and then he just pulls out the arrow, and they're like, "What's on that?" Again, it's the poison, and it's like, "That's impossible." Like, how Casca is, well, no, Casca is like, at first Casca is like, you need to take off your thing, you need to take off your thing. Like, what happened? And then Griffith is like, Griffith shows the egg of the king, and the arrow hits the freaking egg of the king. And this is like, everyone is like, this is fucking unreal. What is the likeliness of this to fucking happen? I mean, it's not impossible, but the fact that it happened, it's just like, it's such a low chance, right? And Guts goes back to what Zod says. No, actually, one of I think it's Crocus. Crocus says, it's the devil's luck. That's the devil's luck. And Guts is like, the devil's luck, the egg of the king. And he's thinking about what Zod told him in the castle. At this point, it was like probably like a couple of days ago, probably a couple of weeks ago, actually. At this point, but Griffith tells everyone he's fine, and again, Griffith Griffith like sees Julius, and he gives him that look again. Julius goes bah and just turns his head, and then after that we cut away, and then after that we cut away, and we see Julius talking to the assassin. He's in his manner. He's talking to the assassin. He's like, "How could you miss?" Now everyone, we've actually helped the Griffith with this because everyone thinks that it was some Kush. I think it was Kush or Chu assassin. I don't remember. I think it was a Chuba. Honestly, for the life of me, I can't remember. Chuba assassin that did it, and Griffith saved the princess. Now he's a hero. He's a hero in the eyes of the common people. He's a hero inside. He's a king. We've helped him with this. Like, we pushed him even further with this. Like, what were you thinking? How could you have missed? And And this conversation goes off, and this pisses Julius off, and Julius starts to think about the way Griffith looked at him, and he's like, maybe he knew, and maybe he knew it was me. The way that he was just staring at him, Griffith is like, and then Julius is like, I mean, no, 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 my eyes just caught him for like it was like a split second, It wasn't. There's no way no way in hell he knew it was me. And then we see Miura shows us, and like he's remembering Griffith's eyes, and then we see Miura show us like with the moon in the window, like it's Griffith. Griffith's just staring at him, like he knows it's you, right? And then after that, we cut away. We see Guts walking up the stairs. He's going to meet Griffith. Griffith's in his office, essentially reading books, and Guts asks him, is this what you do? Is this what you're doing now? And he's like, yeah, yeah, this is important. I have to do this. It's important. It's like, he tells him that he's reading up about chemistry, philosophy, history, and all that. That's what all of this is. And then the conversation goes off. Griffith gives Guts a porno, and Guts just sits down, crosses his legs, and just started looking through it. Anyway, Griffith then asks Guts to do something for him. He asks him, "I need you to kill a man," and Guts is like, "What?" But you need to do it. It's not like the other way. I need you to assassinate him. I need you to assassinate. I need you to kill Julius. And Griffith pulls out the poison, and he shows it to Guts, and then he tells us what he's been up to. He says, he hired one of the maids in Julius's castle to spy on him, and he went to the doctor, to like the local doctor around, to ask if anyone bought poison. And apparently, the assassin that we saw was one of the best, one of the best bowman, one of the best arrow shooter, one of the sharpshooters in Julius's army, or in Julius's army, and he came in. He's the only one that came in to buy the other day. So Guts says, like, and Griffith is like being like, "Can you do it for me?" And then Guts is like, "Just do what you always do and just order me to do it." And we then cut away. We see Guts at Julius's manor. Julius is at this point is practicing with his son, sword fighting, and he's being rough with his son, and the he has like a butler. The butler is like, take it easy on him. He's just a boy. Julius is like, no, he has responsibility. One day he's going to be leading the White Dragon Knights, and possibly even marry Charlotte, right? Princess Charlotte, and become the king of Midland. So yeah, yeah, and also remember, Julius is the king's brother, and yeah, incest. This is incest. But anyway, uh, continuing on, Guts arrives. Guts, kind of hides out for until Julius is finished with his son. Eventually, he finishes his son. He tells his son to rest, and they leave. Julius and the butler is in Julius's room, Julius's quarters, Julius's office. I don't know where it is, but they're talking. The butler that we saw earlier is trying to get him to say, take it down, Master Adonis. He's a 13-year-old boy. He's not. Mm. Julius is like, yeah, you're right. Maybe my responsibilities in the castles as of late has been getting to me. And he orders him to leave. And right as he orders him to leave, Guts appears and Guts assassinate him. And right as Guts assassinate his Julius kills Julius. Julius kind of takes off his hood, and he's like, I know you." And then Julius's son walks into the room. Guts realizes it, and in an instant impales him on his sword, killing the boy. Um, and just as one thing that I skipped over, one thing that I forgot, that happened while Gus was watching Julius train with his son, is that it reminded him of his relationship with Gambino, his younger relationship. Yeah, he thought about that just watching Julius. And Guts is actually thinking, by the way, he just murdered a child. I guess, like, what the fuck did I just do? And then the guards come, and then the entire castle is in alert. So Guts starts killing his way out of the castle. He starts murdering everything. Eventually, he escapes through a sewer, and he seems to pass out because they shot him with some arrows, and he passed out, and he starts to have a nightmare with him and Gambino training. And then all of a sudden, Zod comes, and Zod kills Gambino, and then tries to kill Guts, and Guts is like, stop it, stop it. We then see that Guts views Zod as himself. Like he's Zod. We see that the face comes up with the monster, and it's Guts's face, which honestly I don't know what this is. I don't know. I think this is Guts just viewing himself as a monster because he just murdered a child. It's probably. But anyway, we then after that we see Casca and the gang. They're in a tavern drinking. Crocus again is like, Guts is at the princess's uh, dinner party. This must be great. Shows you her status and power. That's a pretty honorable position. Again, Crocus is in it for status. He's in it for the power. I don't hate him for it. Like, I get it. If you're born a peasant in a world having nothing, and you would be like that. I know some people might hate him for it, for him being so vain and in it for the money and willing to accept all of this. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna blame him for it. I get it. No, respect the hustle, you know. But anyway, Guts then comes in, and Casca goes up to talk to him, and he's like, where's Griffith? Casca explains what Griffith is, that he's at the princess's dinner party. Guts is turned and leaves, and then Casca realizes that the wound on Guts's arm is an arrow wound. So she follows him, but he doesn't know that. Guts arrives at the party, and he's climbing up the stairs to go talk to Griffith, because Griffith and the princess is on the balcony, and as he's climbing up the balcony to go, Casca catch and grabs his arm. She then cuts off a piece of her clothes and wraps around his arm, to apparently stop the bleeding that he got from the arrow wound at Julius's manor. And so we then cut away from Casca and Guts. They're there. They can hear what them and Griffith and the princess is talking about. Now Charlotte gets into, like, she doesn't like parties. She doesn't understand why men go to war. Griffith starts to explain to him. Griffith gets a lot of philosophical in this moment, saying, men go to war for many things. We go to war for power. Possibly we even go to protect ourselves. And he gives this whole philosophical speech um, for for uh, for the this whole philosophical speech to Princess Charlotte about the about why men go to war, his theories into war, how he views the war, and all that stuff. And eventually, Charlotte starts saying, you're so confusing. One minute you're like this childish village boy, next minute you're this elegant aristocrat, and now you're like a philosopher. Like, what's going on with you? She's a bit taken aback by this. So Griffith then, your friends must love you. I can see why they follow you and why they love you so much. And Griffith is like, and then the thing that this is the moment that destroys it all. Griffith basically says, I cannot be a friend with a man that doesn't have a dream. I can't be friends with a man who lives just for the sake of living. To me, a friend is a man who would do anything to achieve his dream. A friend is a man, even if it means trampling over me. That's my idea of a friend. And Guts hears all of this. And earlier in the arc, I ignored this earlier, but earlier in the arc, we see Guts lying on a rooftop, and he's just contemplating, like, is this what I'm searching for? Is this what I've been looking for? And he says to himself that, maybe just for now, I'm going to wield or swing my sword for him, for his dream. And Guts hearing this is just profoundly affected by this, because he thought he wants to be Griffith's friend. He wants to be Griffith's equal, because Griffith is like, a friend is my equal. And Guts is like, okay. And this is where Guts starts to contemplate moving away. He starts to contemplate leaving the Band of the Hawk. This is why it all comes. This is why it all comes crashing down. This is the moment. This is it. This is the reason for the departure. This is the reason for the apocalypse. It's all here. This is just a profound moment, because he views Griffith as a friend. Like earlier, we see him after he's recovered from his injury, with with Zod. Like he wants to go talk to Griffith, and even though Griffith's talking to Baron, the others are telling him like you can't go in there. You have to wait until Griffith finished talking. Gus is like, what? No, it's I'm just going to meet a friend. Like I don't have to wait for this. Um, but Casca punches him in the face. He wants to be Griffith's friend. He wants to be Griffith's equal. He believes that he and Griffith's friend. He believes that he and Griffith, they are friends. He believes this. So him hearing this, him hearing Griffith saying, "Oh, I want someone who is my equal," and that person has to have a dream. That person has to have a reason for living. That person can't just live for my dream alone. Griffith Guts is like, this is just affecting him. He's like, okay, so in order for me to be his equal, in order for me to be his friend, I need I need to be his equal. I need a dream. I need a reason to live, a reason to go on. And it all just starts to affect him so much. It's going to lead him to eventually come to the conclusion that he has to leave the band of Hawk and Griffith, and then it's just all downhill from there. This is just these chapters are amazing. Like shows us how fucking terrifying Griffith is, and just how many layers there is of this dude. There's no one word to really explain him, as Judah had explained to us earlier in the arc. It's like, and I'm on the edge of my seat again. But yeah, that's it. That's the Golden Age arc part 3 or part 4. Honestly, I always forget this. I don't know why I always fucking forget this. But I think, yeah, it's part 3. The Golden Age arc part 3. And it's like, it's amazing. The artwork is amazing. Not only that, the way Miura portrays, like, use his art to portray what the characters, specifically Julius, in Julius's room with Griffith's eye out the window, the moon representing Griffith's eye, and Fossos and all of that. It's amazing, and it's only gonna get better from here. But yeah, this is this is it. Next, we're gonna be dealing with the War of Dory Castle. Guts uh, with Adon. I don't even remember this dude's name. It's been a minute since I've reread Berserk, but yeah, it's intense. It only gets better from here on out, and yeah. So until next time, I'm gonna see you guys.